Okay, so actual weeks. I don't know how to approach this one because you haven't played it. Um, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I'm aware of it.
You are aware of it. How much do you care about spoilers?
I do plan to play it, and I
Okay.
feel like it's really early for our audience to start spoiling it as well.
So what I was planning on doing was segmenting this whenever we do the recording, be like, hey, insert here voice clip. It's like, look, if you don't want to be spoiled, jump to this time slot.
Right.
Which I still might do like a solo thing, but it's dependent on you.
I do want to play it. I was at Walmart today and I almost bought physical copies of that and RE3 Remake, but I
Okay.
didn't.
Okay.
But I do want to play it, so not yet.
I will not say anything. Story sensitive about it. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I am 35 hours in it right now. I am right at the end. If those of you who are ignorant to what it all is, Final Fantasy VII Remake is just the very first section of the first disc of Final Fantasy VII. They have expanded on it. They have made the entire instance where you're in Midgar a 40-hour game. It's very, very impressive. From what I will say, a lot of what was in the original game stays true, and they just expound on it. There's new NPCs, new characters. They change certain character story arcs.
I heard Jesse
very
is a waifu contender now.
Jesse wants the dick.
Everyone calls her Goku because she wants to jump on that cloud. So
It's not far off. What I will say is that I am upset with the game for what it is that they told me it was, but as the game by itself, it is arguably it's possibly one of my favorite Final Fantasies of all time, putting it in the top 3. It is very, very well done. The combat system that they're using is very similar to that's found in Final Fantasy 15, which is another game that I thoroughly enjoyed, but I mean, I gave it like a strong 7. This game's like a 9 pushing a 10. There's very little issues that I have with the game. It cements the fact that I think that the materia system or the materia ability system is one of the best attribute systems that Final Fantasy has ever explored.
the summons are fucking beautiful in that game.
The summons are insane. One thing that I don't like about the summons is that they are size dependent. So, for example, Shiva and Ifrit, they are medium-sized summons.
Mm-hmm.
They can be summoned into an arena that is medium-sized. If you get Leviathan is considered large. He cannot fit in a medium-sized space.
So you can't summon him?
So you can't summon him all the time.
Oh shit. Okay. So they limit it on the arena. Okay, I get what you're saying now.
There is certain limits. So there will be battlefields that are like massive. Those are the only times that you can summon Leviathan, which sucks because he is a beast. Like he is a super beast.
And they're not just like a cutscene and then damage happens. They're an
they
actual
stick
other
around.
NPC that fights.
They stick around for like a good 30 seconds, just fucking shit up.
Now,
go ahead.
Let me ask you, what's the pool look like of summons? Because in the original Final Fantasy VII, there was Odin, there was Leviathan, there was Knights of the Round, there was
3 different Bahamut's.
Yes, Neo Bahamut, all that stuff.
It's small.
It's smaller. Okay, it's like Final Fantasy X small.
Yes.
Final Fantasy X had like 7 or 8, I think, maybe
8. It's possibly even fewer than that. You have Shiva, Ifrit, Chocobo, and Moogle.
Oh yeah, that's the first one. Yeah.
You have Fat Chocobo. You have Cactar if you did the pre-order bonus, which I lost my receipt, so I didn't get Cactar. There is Leviathan, and there is Bahamut.
Really?
I don't know if there's anyone beyond that. which to me, I don't have a huge issue with that because this is supposed to be representative of the first portion of the game. This is like, for me, playing Final Fantasy VII, and I do plan on replaying Final Fantasy VII. This is only like about 4 to 7 hours worth of the game.
Right.
It is very, very early. So to me, it would make sense that there would be so few summons, if any at all. It doesn't. So that number of summons doesn't really bother me because I'm always of the mindset there's like, if I have a summon, it's representative of a certain element.
Right.
Let it be that element. I don't need, like, for example, if you have Ifrit, what's the point of having fucking Phoenix? What's the point of having some other fucking fire user? The additional effects that they bring with them, but they can be like really advanced effects. If I'm having an NPC on the field and everybody can use their ATB to make it do attacks, that's fine by me. Like, I don't care. For what it is, especially with this battle system, it makes sense to have like one summon per element.
Makes sense.
Then going into that, the battle system. I like this new battle system. It makes it very, it kind of feels like a little bit of risk reward because you can only use spells and abilities if you charge your ATB or you charge the your meter. So everybody has 2 meters or 2 bricks in their meter, unless you get like a certain limit break called refocus, which is coming off of a materia, which will then segment it into 3. Whenever you attack somebody, your meter goes up faster. It's very, very slow. And unless you're using like haste, you have to, be active in combat in order for that to charge.
Right.
So you as the main player, you're constantly building up meter. It's very, very fast. Your teammates, however, they kind of just hang out until they feel comfortable doing something. Sometimes they get beat up on, but what you can easily do is like hit the
Input a
left or
command for
right
them.
button. Well, not just input the command, you can gain control of that character. So if I'm playing Cloud and Cloud gets put to sleep, I can switch over to Tifa. I can switch over to Barrett. I can switch over to Aerith and have them do something.
But by the way, Tifa's
Mhm.
like, I did see a gif of like Tifa's fighting animations, and they're fucking beautiful. She's
Tifa
got
is
dive kicks and uppercuts and
the
launchers.
baddest bitch in the game. She's my strongest character. Which I want to start getting into that soon. All I'm going to say further is that the combat system is very, very well done for what it is. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Let's before we move on, I want you to
Sure.
address we know a couple people that have had a big problem with either. I personally have a friend that is just like, can't believe they charged $60 for this remake of a 20-year-old game. But he's also the kind of person that I can't convince. Like, I can't be like, well, it's totally different game. It's like it's Final Fantasy VII. It's Cloud, it's Barrett, it's Tifa, it's Aerith, all that. But it's a totally different game. It's got different mechanics, different systems, different. I mean, still main story, but it's slightly different.
What the perception is that they know Final Fantasy VII, and when they're told that it's only going to encompass Midgar, the first portion of Midgar, they think that it's a 5-hour game.
I also
Give or
think,
take.
too, they're like, oh, they got it stuck in their heads that it's an HD upscale. This is a complete remake.
Bro, this game is gorgeous.
The music is phenomenal in this game.
Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about. There's a certain word, but I'm just gonna call it a remix, even though it's not a remix. The new compositions for all the classic tracks are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing like even the Black Mages. Black Mages, I believe. I don't know where they're from, but they have done a lot of work with Square Enix in making music for Final Fantasy, whether it be the movies, extra soundtracks, touring with their house band, shit like that. The music that they have now blows it completely out of the water. It's so good.
That version of what is it? Those that fight those that we fight or something like that. The main
Those that
title,
fight.
those that fight, that thing's so fucking good. Like that's
Well, those that fight is the main battle theme.
yeah.
The new version of the theme song, amazing. Those that fight further, amazing.
Yeah.
Just everything is just so well done. It's like they meticulously went through this one portion and said, "How can we make Midgar feel like a living, breathing world?" And they accomplished that. It's amazing.
There's
Like,
also a lot of people that are upset with the battle system. They're like, well,
um,
what's going on?
all,
Why don't we have the turn-based battle system anymore? And I'm just like,
all I'm gonna say is old man yells at cloud. Like that's the best way that I can put it.
I mean, if you want
It's
that,
been 20 years.
yeah, the
And if
best
you
version
want
of
that
that game is
experience,
on the
you
PC.
have that.
Yeah.
You have that experience. So it's on Switch, it's on PS3, it's on fucking PC. You could play it if you have the original disc.
You
You
got you
have
can
that
get the modded
experience.
version that makes it look damn near like the
Yep.
best it can be. And
Yep.
then you have your game that you want. But
Yep.
like let people have their character action game, which this is basically what that is.
Pretty much, which I wanted to get into like the individual characters. It feels like everyone kind of does have a role. Cloud is the most well-rounded. He's not the strongest character. He's
He's
not
the Ryu.
the highest in magic. But he's good at everything without being overpowered. Tifa, without a doubt, the best, like the strongest character, has some amazing setups, like actual setups. So there's this one combo that you get over time, where she can set traps. Like if she's fighting a larger enemy that doesn't really move, you can set like these things called, I think they're called like chi traps. And it's just this orb that does damage over time. And you can put down as many as you want so long as you have the meter to spend on it. And because meter recharges so quickly, um, each character has
Well,
like their own
it
shtick
it charges really quickly because she's always attacking.
because she's always attacking, right?
Yeah.
But then the chi trap is also charging your ATB.
So
So you're getting so it's just going. But
it's like having like it's like playing WoW and having like a pet like with a warlock or a hunter or
yes,
something like that.
yes, and then imagine if you're like putting haste on her, which already makes the ATB goes super fast. But that's not the point. Each character has like their own secondary action. So I think last week I talked about how Cloud has the Punisher mode. In Punisher mode, he walks very slowly, but he does these wildly powerful swings, pretty much doubling his damage. If he's guarding, he automatically gets a counterattack if someone does a melee attack on him. It changes the way from him being like very fast and fluid and then changing to being very hunkered down, but
Like
dealing
someone that
a
would
lot
actually
of
be
fucking
carrying
damage.
a Buster Sword of that size.
Yeah. Yeah, like he wrecks shit. Tifa has a modified combo system. Not combo system's the wrong word. She can stack her secondary ability. So she'll have something called like windmill winding uppercut. And her winding uppercut, she just goes in and she like hits somebody up in the air. But the effects off of that is that whenever somebody is staggered, it increases the percentage of that stagger, allowing everybody to do more damage to it.
Right.
She's, from what I see, the only character that's able to raise that percentage. Well, you can do that 3 times, and it goes from winding uppercut to Omni Strike to Rise and Fall. It's not single strike though, because once you use Rising Fall, it goes down to Omni Strike. So you can recharge that if you want to.
So it's
So
like if you're doing it like let's say in MMO talk, you're doing your 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack, but then instead of having to go back to the 1 attack, you can go back to the 2 and then do the 3 again.
kinda.
Okay.
So what my strategy is whenever I'm playing Tifa is that I use Cloud to raise the stagger bar on an enemy. I'll switch over to Tifa the first time that she gets 2 meter. Use Unbridled Strength, which is what charges her secondary attack. So she'll go from Winding Uppercut to Omni Strike to Rise and Fall, and I hold her there. I make sure that she holds on to that for a while because she won't get rid of it. There's a timer on it, but the timer is like 2 minutes. So if you don't
Holy
use it within
shit!
2 minutes,
They implemented Final Fantasy 14 shit into this as well.
yeah, kinda. It's very interesting. But I'll have Cloud stagger the enemy, switch over to Tifa, go over to where the downed enemy is, drop 2 traps, and then with my charged like stagger shit, go through the whole combo. So she goes rise and fall, fucking Omni Strike, winding uppercut. The enemy is already now over 200% stagger, and everyone's wailing on him. Everyone's doing nearly triple damage. Plus, you have the fucking traps going off, doing. I kill so many fucking enemies like that. And if I have fucking Aerith on the team, Aerith has this ability called Arcane. I think it's called Arcane Ward, where she like takes a spot on the ground, but she doesn't have to do it on herself. She can do it on any other character. And if she puts the ward on the ground, anybody that's standing in that position gets double spell. Like there's just so much stupid shit that you could do. It's amazing.
That's why you love it, because it's a combo, weird ass combo system.
Yeah, the
a fighting
combat
game.
system is so inventive, and so much fun to explore different combinations that.
Now imagine this game. Imagine this game, but Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah, exactly. If this should be like the cornerstone of what everyone should be looking at when they decide to go through, just picking up weapons. You don't just pick up a weapon, okay? There's no such thing as an ultimate weapon. There's weapons with skill trees. So the Buster Sword is like the middle of the road.
Right.
But you have weapon levels. So you have 6 weapon levels, and over time, every single time that you level up, you get 5 skill points. That goes to your pool. So you remember how in Final Fantasy 13, each character had like their own little orb grid, and you had to like pick what skills that you wanted.
Let's go back a little bit farther. Final Fantasy 10
Final
had
Fantasy
that.
10.
Yes, because I didn't play 13.
So kind of like a similar style. I go to 13 because I would say it's a little bit more similar because you can choose anything, not just on a single track.
A lot of people, I just recently like tried playing Path to Exile, and that shit has. I thought Final Fantasy 10 had crazy ass upgrade trees. Path to Exile puts all that shit to shame.
This one isn't so much crazy as it is like you have options. Each weapon has a theme. So the Buster Sword is middle of the road. It's all about doing equal amounts of damage and equal amounts of magic damage. You have a little bit of health buffs, a little bit of magic buffs. It's vanilla. You'll have weapons that all they do, it'll look like a weak weapon. All they do is critical hits. 2 out of 3 hits that you do is going to be a critical hit. And you have like 300% critical hit raise on that shit. So like the Nail Bat. Nail Bat right now for me only has 30 attack, but its critical hit rate is like 250%.
What's the critical hit damage? Double?
I would say that it would average out about 150 points of damage, which is high in this game.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, if its attack is only 30 something.
Right. So that's another thing that I noticed. This is, from the way that the combat damage looks, it's a very low damage game. It's not like, in any other Final Fantasy, you do a hit, you do 5,000 points of damage in the end game. It's like, no,
early
bitch,
World of Warcraft.
Here's 100.
Yeah.
You do 100 damage.
Yeah.
But it's all about combining the skills of your weapons with your materia. And that's what you give and take and try to build your weapon to your specification, learn what the best build for that weapon is. So like Cloud's best weapon is called the Heart Edge. All it is just straight attack. 107 points of damage. You have 4 materia slots. They're all linked together, but it's just all about dealing damage and maybe a little bit of hit points. There's other weapons that all they do is just magic. Some of them are all about buffing and debuffing. Like there's options. There's not one Ultima weapon. It's all about what does your next battle need? Here's the weapon for it. And I like that because it's very strategic.
Yeah.
Um, Also, one thing I really like, one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy IX is that each weapon has an ability. So in Final Fantasy IX, you just had to grind your way. Let's say that you had a helm that gave you auto potion. So every single time that you lost 1,000 hit points, you just throw a potion in the air and you get that 1,000 back. Similar concept, except you have to, as long as you have the weapon equipped and you keep on using that ability, you will over time just learn that ability and it'll be permanent with you.
Sounds
So
like a
that no
blue
matter,
mage.
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So that no matter what weapon that you're using, you could just, hey, I have the twin stinger. Twin stinger gives me like some sort of counter strike or some shit like that.
Right.
I use it a certain amount of times. I now know counter strike. I can go back to my Buster Sword because I know it's a better weapon.
It
The
sounds like
game,
how the old system was. You would learn, like, you would master them. Well, not so much like learn the weapon, but you like, is there like mastering materia in this game that once you master a materia, you get another of the materia?
unfortunately, no.
Okay.
That's one thing that I noticed about the materia system. I don't know if it was necessarily mastering it, but I believe like if you got the materia to like level 4 or level 9, it's been a while since I played
You
7.
would get another one.
You would get another one, and that
That's
was the
what
big thing
everyone wanted to
about
do with Knights of the Round. You wanted to
exactly.
do.
You wanted everybody to have Knights of the Round, everybody to have Death Blow, everybody to have all the high end shit. Um, Not here, not in this.
I think that's good.
And even then, I think that the pool of materia, comparing it to the original Final Fantasy VII, is rather lackluster, but it makes sense for what the game is.
Right.
Like in Final Fantasy VII, you can do some fucking jank shit, like some degenerate shit where you just walk in, do what is it like death below all, and then you just do a critical hit on every single enemy on the field. Can't do that shit in this game. But for what it is, it's very, very well done. Um, I want to get into the story, but for the sake of viewers who haven't finished it,
You've already spent
yourself
20 minutes
included,
on it already, so.
yeah, it's play the game, be upset with me, but play the game because it's really, really good. Um,
I might go back to
yeah,
Walmart and pick up a copy of it then.
you should, you should. I mean, it's 40 hours. It's 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 enough content for an RPG of this caliber, and for everything that you're getting, just fucking do it. It's
It
great.
sounds like that's all you did this week.
No, it would have been, but I got accepted into the Guilty Gear Strive
Oh,
closed
Lord.
beta,
Yeah.
which is the only other thing that I did this week. But there's a bit to say on that too. Um, they changed Soul.
For the good or the bad?
I don't know. Um, but they changed Soul. Soul is fucking dumb in this game.
All I
Like the
saw
way,
was the Faust move that gives you an afro, and then the
yes,
afro has a hitbox,
yes,
which is stupid.
yes, it does. Um, as far as the gameplay itself, um, a lot of characters. I'm not super proficient with Faust or Chip. I know Kai and I know Soul. Kai is almost exactly the same. He's gotten actually a few extra things. Now some of his hits do shock damage, and whenever or shock status, and whenever an enemy is in shock status, your lightning attacks do more damage to them.
Okay.
Um,
I thought it was going to do a stun thing like with Chun-Li, but okay.
I mean, he's got stun stuff, but it's every character has like a little bit extra, so to say. Soul is all about the beatdown, and you cannot stop the beatdown. Um, Before we get into that, the combo game in this game, um, if you don't know your combos, you're gonna feel like it's a slow game. There's
That
no Gatling.
that's what you were worried about though, right? You were worried about like the auto combos that they might bring in from Dragon Ball Fighters and all that stuff.
They didn't do that, thankfully. There's
Okay.
no auto combo. However, one thing that I thought was cool about Guilty Gear is that in a sense, it did feel like a little bit like a pick up and play game because you were able to do easy 5-hit combos, punch, kick, slash, hard slash. You
Right.
know, simple, and
Right.
it's useful in this game. Your punch doesn't chain into anything but punch. You know, you have to be creative. It's a lot more on your special moves chaining together. First off, they took out the boot. There is no riot stomp. So,
Is this the first game that doesn't have the boot?
yes. Yeah, there is no boot. Now, don't get me
What
wrong.
is the boot for people that don't know what the boot is?
Boot is riot stomp. It's supposed to be quarter circle back for soul, quarter circle back and kick.
Where he
Okay?
jumps off the fucking wall. Yeah.
Off the wall. He from wherever position he is, he goes to the immediate other wall and then shoves a boot down your fucking throat. At
And
like
it goes
speeds.
across screen. Yeah. It's called the boot. It's been there since Guilty Gear 1.
And I like the boot because it's actually a really good escape maneuver because you could just back the fuck out.
And it's fun to
and then
troll
when the
people
enemy's
with.
trying to hit you, and I just Roman cancel, and now I've just created distance and we're back to neutral. So I'll be like getting my ass beat, possibly get the boot, Roman cancel out, and then we're back to neutral, and I can like start making my counter attack without getting my ass beat.
You don't have that anymore.
You don't have that anymore. Instead, they put Bandit Bringer as the quarter circle back, which fucks me over because I have a combo in my head from Xrd where it's just forwards hard slash where he just puts the sword in the ground. That'll put your enemy in the air. Then Bandit Bringer, you jump up and you kick that motherfucker into the ground, and then they continue to be in the air, and then you pull out a Fafnir, and then that bitch rolls to the other end of the corner. And now that's gonna fuck up my thing. Because what I know is Bandit Bringer is now nothing because they didn't replace it with anything. Soul is, I think, the only SRK that Soul has is Volcanic Viper. So there was 2 moves that they changed, and I don't remember what the other one is. But they took out the boot and they replaced it with Bandit Bringer.
So the
whatever.
boot's just not in there at all.
The boot's just not in there at all. Oh, they also don't have Dragon Install.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. So the only actual special or super that he has is Tyrant Wave, where he does like the uppercut and then punches you to the other side of the ground or the other side of the field.
So we don't get no Ride the Fire or anything like that?
Nope.
That's bullshit.
There's
this is
like
the worst
no
game ever.
demon mode. It's a fun game. It's a fun game, but it is significantly slower. Just even in feel. Like I haven't played a Guilty Gear where I felt like I didn't know what I was doing since the first time that I picked it up. It's just weird because even though I'm not really proficient with other characters, I can make my way around. I can kind of feel my way around them and still do well at either like the arcade mode or if I'm really good at them, take them online.
Right.
Not this case. Kind of had to relearn everything again.
You gotta go back to the drawing board.
Right, which is begrudgingly fine because I love the series. However, this game's lobby is a fucking mess.
It's also the beta. It's the beta. Things can change between now and the release.
Okay, so yes, they need to. Okay, because the way the betas work is just like, hey, do you like this? Okay, we're gonna keep this. Everyone needs to be like as loud and belligerent as possible in talking about the lobby.
Which is weird because Xrd had one of the best lobbies.
A lot of people said that the lobby system for Xrd was not good.
Oh, that shit was great. You would sit down at a cabinet to play somebody else.
Aesthetically pleasing, yes, but I do know that a lot of people were complaining about the lobby. I didn't really see that much of an issue. I felt that it was maybe a little bit more difficult to navigate through, but I didn't have an issue, me personally.
Right.
This game's lobby, everything is 2D. You have your ugly 16-bit baby, okay? And you're let into this mansion. It's like a tower, okay? And the way that you find where the better characters are or the better players are, is that you have to beat a certain number of players that are on your floor as possible till you hit that threshold. The problem is that it's very difficult for you to figure out how to challenge an enemy. So the only way that you know that someone's ready to be challenged is if they take their weapon out. Then you walk over to that person and you say, "I would like to challenge this person," and then you take your weapon out. That's not so bad when there's only like 4 people in a room.
What's the limit?
There is no limit.
There's no limit to a room.
I don't know what the limit was, but they had to have been like 30 people on this one floor. And it was just challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge. And it's really hard for you to find who one person is compared to another. So, for example, if I wanted to fight TJ, I would not be able to go up against TJ if there was like 30 people in the room, because if I go over to his avatar, it'll register someone who's next to him or 2 people over. There's like a hitbox between the 2 people. So
That's
you have
weird.
to like properly maneuver yourself to challenge somebody. And then there could just be no challengers, or they have their weapon out, but there could be like drops in the fucking network, which is understandable because it's a beta. But just navigating the UI through the lobby is just really, really poorly done. So go back to fucking Xrd. I would prefer Xrd. If you want to find another way of doing ranking systems, go fucking try another way. Go back to the old way, but not this. This is shit. But other than that, game's great. I just need to relearn it.
There you go.
Unfortunately. So
Did the UI change for the better, didn't it?
it doesn't feel like Guilty Gear.
It's not as bad as what we saw before, though, right?
It's not as bad, but I'm going to say that not a lot has changed. Now, I personally I did not mind the UI itself. I do think that it's a little bit weird searching for the meters because everything is so small. So your meter is very, very tiny. What's cool though is that it's segmented. So when you build your meter, you'll see a little gear turning in certain spots, and that'll let you know, hey, you can do a roaming cancel here, or you can do a special here. It tells you how many segments of meter you have compared to like the other Guilty Gear where they just change colors, and that didn't really work out for me. They did change the roaming cancel system. So there used to be in XR, there used to be YRC and PRC and RRC. There's like different colors for different roaming cancels depending on the situation. Whether you're roaming canceling out of I forget what it was. It's like a pushback, but I don't remember the actual terminology. Regular roaming cancel is a YRC that takes up 50% meter. There are certain roaming cancels that take 25%. They just said just regular ass roaming cancel. That's it.
Right.
The Roman cancels have different abilities. So if I'm doing a combo on somebody and I Roman cancel, I can push my character left or right or up and shit like that to get a better position on beating your ass. If I'm not fighting you and I just Roman cancel, apparently there's like a slowdown mechanic where everything starts slowing down for your opponent and you're able to make faster moves because you spent that meter. So this game is very meter heavy. It's very like you're spending meter a lot.
You have just explained 2 games where it's all about meter management, is what it is.
Yes.
I think we're starting to see a trend.
I guess it's what I'm into. I like meters.
Well, you also got something that was pretty cool that came in that you shared in the Discord.
Oh shit, yeah. Hold on. So like 2 months ago, I had put in an order for another hitbox because the hitbox that I previously owned, I still own it, but my other hitbox, I had a Hori Fighting Edge 2. I think it's a Fighting Edge 2. It originally had Hayabusa parts. It got swapped out for Kanba. My issue with Kanba parts is that they're very, very sensitive. So there will be times where I just accidentally brush my finger over a button and it will register an attack. And I'm
Right.
like, no, I do not want that. So I found another manufacturer, Marvelous, and they made this. This is a custom art. This is the art for
Hold up a
Sonic the
little bit higher.
Fighters.
Well, not that high. Well, back up. There you go. About right there. Yeah.
So this is custom art, not like custom to me, but custom to the magazine. This was the Sonic. I think it was issue 3 for Megavision's magazine, where
Yeah.
Sketchcraft did Sonic the Fighters. It is gorgeous. It's a smaller board.
Okay, so the backside looks. I like the backside more than the front
Well,
side.
well, you could see the guts, which I always thought was really, really cool.
I like
Looking
that.
at
I like
certain
looking
boards.
that guts is clean too.
It's real nice. It almost looks like plexiglass,
Yeah,
all like screwed together, which I don't mind. I think it looks really, really good. But what's important about this is that it has a PCB.
yeah.
Brooks PCB is a universal module that allows you to play on PS4, PS3, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox 360.
The ones that matter.
So yeah, so you
But
can
Chris,
play.
how are you gonna play Capcom versus Tatsunoko?
About
Yeah.
that. Did I tell you?
No.
I bought a Smash box over the weekend and
Oh,
it's
fuck
coming on
you.
Monday.
We know where your stimulus went.
Yeah. I have a Smash box on the way, so I'll be able to play.
It's not a nice way to talk about your wife, but
I have a hitbox for everything now. Everything that matters.
you are ridiculous.
A little bit. A little bit. Just muy poquito.
Well,
That's-
my week